Hello and welcome to the Kyuzo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. So this episode is with Sean Davitt. Sean is a Judo black belt, a Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's the head coach at Gory Grappling Academy. He has a degree, a master's in sports psychology. He is basically a fairly interesting guy to talk to on a lot of subjects, but today the one I was really interested in was about his Judo Assist Program that he runs in his academy. Now, Judo Assist is a special needs program to teach the martial arts to kids with varying special needs, from autism right through to cerebral palsy or Down syndrome, anything at all, really. And he's got some great hints if you're a coach, some really interesting information if you're a parent, or if you're someone who's just interested in neurodiversity at all, how it's occurred in society, how it represents in society, and how you can make environments and your coaching and your sporting life more inclusive. Well, listen in. This is really interesting stuff. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I think you're going to be surprised by some of the information that you get there as well. So let's have a listen. Without further ado, here comes Sean.
Time since the dark ages, isn't it?
Jesus Christ, the dark ages of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jesus. Okay, we'll get cracking.
Yep.
So, look, for anybody watching, if you're a coach, educator, parent, anybody involved with kids, anything like that, the first thing that anybody would notice, and now the figures differ from, but there's been a manifold increase in rates of autism over the last 20 years. Now I suppose we should clarify and say that's rates of detection of autism.
100%, with diagnosis.
Yeah, as opposed to that there's some, and there may be some environmental or genetic factor that's at play, but what we are very clear on that's detection. So my opinion would be, based on my opinion, would be there's a societal factor in as much as I don't think people are sort of hiding their children who have autism or have any other special need, whereas there would have been even a sense of, I suppose even when I was growing up, there was a sense of shame if you had...
Yeah, there would have been a thought process to that, My view on autism is diagnosis. We have more tools to diagnosis now, and gladly, look, the population-wise, they reckon 1 in every 45 people have diagnosis of autism now. But to me, it's always been there. It's like Pluto. It wasn't discovered till the 50s,
right?
But it was always there.
Yeah.
Or people didn't recognise it. Maybe the quiet guy in the corner in the classroom who was finding it hard to sit still. There's autism there. There was ADHD there. People just thought, pardon expression, it was a bold child when it was a child doing its best.
Yeah. So we're casting the net wider. It's not just a case of suddenly there's X amount of people because there's more iPads or something like that.
And I don't want to go into the kind of factors of how it gets there. There's genetic factors. It's not linked to medications or anything necessarily. And we don't know that. And that's speculation. But, you take back genetic, you had people with hyper focus and acute to stimulation there. We go back to prehistoric times. If you didn't have people like that in your tribe, someone wasn't keeping an eye out, you're going to get eaten by a bloody bear. Yeah. So everyone has their purpose, So my thing is, use what people have and we can work with that. It's always been there.
I remember I read an article about... I think the guy's an anthropologist, and I can't remember the name. I hate bringing stuff up when I can't remember what the actual source was, but he had this sort of theory that essentially people with the likes of ADHD or ASD, they were like sort of they were the explorers.
Yes.
They were the wanderers, the guy who went out and said, well, let's find somewhere new to hunt, let's do that. And he was willing to go out on his own.
Exactly.
And like you said, the hyper vigilant, the person with the higher kind of, what would you call it? The higher radar and awareness, they were the person who could keep you safe and keep you protected.
And I suppose the further we come away from the natural environment like that, we're kind of getting into a world where everything is lights and buzz and electronics and everything is so stimulating. So even you take, how we evolve ourselves, we're not used to the concept of waking up in the morning and there's neon lights flashing.
Right.
If you were thinking Ireland 60 years ago, there wasn't that there. So maybe the rate of autism wasn't as easily noticed because it was
calmer, right? Yeah.
You were back in Ireland, relatively agricultural society, that kind of time, it was a simpler life. Now you have so many distractions and it's easy to get overstimulated. Particularly you take the school environment now, and it's all bells, whistles, lights, technology, and it's a lot. People get overwhelmed, and then maybe someone notices in the school. You get a teacher or a preschool teacher, and they go, maybe there's a milestone missing.
Yeah.
Maybe let's refer you on, maybe to a Children's Disability Network or something like that, just for an analysis.
Yeah, let's see what's going. Let's see if we can help you out here. Yeah.
You know, we have an opportunity to notice things.
Right.
You know, and when people know what they're looking for, then they can get it out. Then they can see things. You know,
like I think there's a massive argument for society's change as more of like something that essentially puts the blotter out and says, look, here we're showing it up, as opposed to society change causing it. And I think that's what a lot of people think.
It's the evolution in society as well. Yeah. And a real positive that's coming now is it's going strength focused. It's like going, here's someone who can detail and identify patterns and all that. But you know who's working in NASA? People who can identify patterns. You know, mathematicians, scientists. Look, not everybody is Rain Man. We're not going that kind of way. You know, but people who can identify trends, patterns, and that was a survival instinct as well. When you understand patterns, you know, whether it was migrations, weather, and into modern times, you understand this is going to happen at that time. That's why people are in routines. Routines make people comfortable. And this, leading into working with people with autism and all that, routine is so important.
Yeah.
You know, in my own team, a lot of clubs, they take a break for the summer. We don't. Because the kids, the adults and their families need that routine because it's structure. Structure makes you feel comfortable. And then you can be your best self when you're comfortable.
And this is so important with kids on the autism spectrum.
100%. Yeah. Feel comfortable. You know, the regular coaches, the regular environment, the coaches who get them, you know, and get them that someone sees the world in a slightly different way doesn't mean they're seeing it wrong.
Right.
They're just seeing it differently.
It's a perceptive element.
Thing. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go into that world to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, this makes sense. The guy likes the client. How can I make the best of that? And how can I show what superhero client? Spider-Man. Let's train like Spider-Man.
Right.
There you go. You've got an opening. People, and they want to engage with you, and there's the floodgates open. You can unlock a person.
I think from our experience here, like, and I suppose in relative terms, I think probably we have maybe a slightly higher proportion, I would say, of kids with autism, just on an ADHD. Yeah. Maybe, possibly. And again, those rates vary. So it's you're not talking about something that would be immediately obvious. And I think very often people think, it's a hidden disability, essentially.
They've discovered coping mechanisms and masking.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they don't want to be identified as different. You know, and particularly girls.
Right.
Girls are so hard to get a diagnosis because they're so good at masking.
Right. Maybe just go into that a little bit for people who don't know. What is masking?
Masking would be where they hide their traits. You know, where they go, right, so some people do a stim, okay? So a stim, for anyone who doesn't know, would be maybe a flicking of the hands or maybe clicking or just kind of moving, you know, not feeling comfortable in themselves. But that, to us, we see that as they're dancing on the spot or not paying attention. For them, it's actually helping to regulate them.
Right.
A lot of people stim when they're comfortable, you know, when they're happy, you know, if something is overwhelming, but it's usually a way of regulating themselves.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. And masking itself is a way of hiding that, because a lot of people with autism are very self-aware,
right,
and they know when someone's looking at you. They know I've done a stim or something and it distracts someone else, and they're looking at you going, what's wrong with that guy?
Right.
You know, and that can be very hard for parents as well. When you're a parent of someone with autism, okay, and I say, wish it's not a handbag, you're an autistic person, okay, and you see other people looking at your child and saying, what's wrong with that child? There's nothing wrong. That child is uniquely themselves, like anyone else. But in order for that person to feel comfortable to be themselves, maybe they might have to make a little noise.
Yeah.
Or a little noise like that. Something that just brings them back to themselves so they can focus on the job at hand.
And in public, everybody turns around and their head snaps immediately. They hear this loud noise. Hey, that's not normal.
Yeah, that's something. Not normal.
Yeah, that's, hold on, what's that? And now everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, and they're evaluating you. You know, and there's 4 things in life, Barry, people are afraid of, okay? And fear is an important thing, is the fear of the outcome of something, whether it's success or failure. So if someone is successful, they're going to expect more of them, okay? If someone fails, nobody likes to fail, okay? A fear of injury.
Pretty natural.
No one wants, no one wants to be injured. A fear of the unknown. So an example, like we're talking in our jiu-jitsu, judo kind of environment, the more information we can give to someone to prepare them before they do a class, that takes away an element of the fear of the unknown.
Right.
So if someone was to contact me, say, Sean, I'd love to come to one of your Judo Assist classes. I go, okay, cool. But little Johnny doesn't know what it is. Fine. What I'll do is I'll make a little video introducing myself, showing a little map of the gym, pictures of the gym, okay, pictures of all the coaches, and a little introduction of what judo is.
Excellent.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you're taking away a bit of that fear of the unknown. If they want to come in and meet me before classes, perfect. We'll have a little chat. And then the other thing people are afraid of is fear of being evaluated by other people. What would people think of me? And a lot of the time, some of the kids, the younger age kids, they don't care at that point. Sometimes the parents are worried.
Right, yeah.
About what will they think.
Yeah, they've got a natural fear. They've got a natural wish to protect the kid and look, not have him ridiculed, not have him isolated or identified.
Exactly. And that's a huge thing. And it's a very emotional thing for families. I don't know if you know, every year we do a great event up in Tipperary. It's called the Friendship Games, okay? And it's Judo Assist, so it's adaptive judo. So we take away a lot of the more dangerous elements of judo. And we focus on skill levels and classification. So people are matched up accordingly. But when you see the kid coming on and giving it what they have, the best of their ability, okay? You don't have to be elite international athlete. Once they're given the best of their ability, you can't ask for higher than that.
Yeah.
But when you see the parents watching their son or their daughter walking out onto a mat, having a match, having the place cheering for them.
Yeah.
And you go, and you see parents crying.
Yeah,
I've seen guys who are army men, you know,
tough guys.
Tough guys.
Yeah.
And they're in tears saying, "Oh my God, he's doing this.
He's doing
this." You know, and that's the magic of it. You take away that fear of being evaluated.
And I think when you look at that as well, from what we spoke about at the start, like that takes it from that old style. And again, I don't want to use the word shame because I think a lot of parents would be very proud, but they would have, always felt that, well, look, I need to protect him, I need to keep him. And even if you go back a bit further, and it's not that far back in Irish history, you've got institutionalization, you've got parents going like, well, look, we can't have him around, so we have to get rid of him. We don't know how to look after him. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the knowledge.
We don't have the education. And look, you think of the sources of some of that information. It wasn't founded in fact, it was founded in a thought process that suited someone else's criteria.
Agenda. This is our defining factor of what a human being should look like and be, and if we don't have that in place, we need to...
And they don't conform.
Yeah.
And that's, I think conformity is something people focus so much on. They don't conform. And that's fine. Why can't we, people, neurotypical people, conform to that? And I'm going, but without that different view on the world, how can we discover new things? Like we're saying, the explorers.
Yeah.
How can we play around with electronics? How can we become computer analysts? How can we see simple things that we don't normally see unless we're looking at it from a different point of view?
Different point of view and a different aspect. And I think one of the things that parents of kids with autism would know is there's often a word used which is obsession.
Obsession, yeah.
And it's used as a dirty word sometimes. It's like, oh my God, he's obsessed with this or obsessed with that. But obsession is essentially what drives progress.
God.
It drives, If somebody's obsessed with something, they're going to give you everything about it and you're going to get it.
Oh yeah, whether you want it or not, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it, you're going to hear about it.
But you're going to get encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah.
If you want to know something that happened in The Simpsons in 1993 in the very first episode,
I might be able to tell you about
it.
But only seasons 6 to 12. No, it doesn't.
They were the better ones. But they would that person who has that key interest, a key topic, will be able to tell you that.
Yeah. And in detail with everything.
With everything.
Yeah.
And then they may be able to tell you how that was a forerunner to another event in The Simpsons. You're like, oh, I learned something new today.
Yeah.
And maybe I can bring that into a conversation with someone else.
Yeah. It's remarkable because I think the first thing that people see is the surface, of course, and again, we're talking about, I suppose we'd be talking very much about two different, there's the adage of, I suppose, that you probably heard him said many times, that if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. It's not really.
Oh God.
Yeah,
no.
the spectrum is huge, and in the same way as any human being would be, it's not always manifest what the difficulties they have or anything else there. So you could have a person who's appears perfectly normal, good at masking, good at playing the part. And masking, by the way, is exhausting, which
absolutely.
is another thing.
You know yourself as a coach. You're similar in a way. You have to have a really tough day at work. Maybe you have to have a tough day at home or something like that. But you have to come in and you have to put your mask on. Happy days, which everyone's coming to your gym for the next 4 or 5.
Yeah, Mr. Professional coach has to come out regardless. Hail, rain or shine. Yeah,
exactly. Hail, rain or shine. You are still you, or you're the character you play for the people who are attending. You know, and when you get home, you are absolutely exhausted because you've been masking. Yes, you may be having a great time and whatever, but there is a character you're trying to play. And for a lot of people on the autism spectrum, they're trying to play that character in school all day.
Right,
You know? Or they're trying to play it in work all day. Yes, I'm comfortable, I'm capable, I'm well able to do this. But that's hard work.
Yeah.
And then you're expected to do something else.
Right.
And then you're expected. And you know, with the weight of expectation, when people are expecting things of you all the time, that's very heavy. And that's where you get autistic burnout and things as well.
Yeah,
you have to be aware of that.
And I suppose from our perspective as coaches, so if we're sitting here as a parent or a coach, and we're saying, well, you don't want their sport to be another hour or an hour or a quarter of another hard work, another hard day. You want it to be the opposite, right? You want it to be, but this is where somebody you can express yourself and you can be your. What ways could you help a kid who was
for me,
or an adult for that matter? Yeah.
Look, in our club down, we have people in our adults classes and our kids classes. Doesn't matter who they are. You're one of us.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the emphasis on the fundamentals. Look, you can talk about your sports science and your fundamentals. You're training to train to compete, training to win, and training to retain. But it only all works if you focus on fundamentals. And fundamentals at a high level is just getting more and more elite. So the emphasis there is on fun and mental. Learn through play.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's not that you're tricking people into learning, but they're having fun and don't realise what they're learning, movement mechanics. Okay, and we break it down into fun. And before once we're teaching them, we say, okay, there's a grading coming up, and everyone's like, oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do. And you're going, oh sure, you know that game we're playing frog, jump, leap, and jump under? It's like, you're already doing that move.
Right.
You just don't realise it. It's like, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah, and you're making that sort of familiar for them. It's about familiarity again.
Yeah, it's very familiar and comfortable. They know how to do it. So like, okay, now we're just going to learn a word, and that's the name of that movement.
Congratulations. You learned the technique already. You just didn't know it.
And the fundamentals are the most important, and that's it. So how to stand so that you've got good balance. How to be able to, if you're doing jiu-jitsu, how to pull guard and make it comfortable. Not just jumping straight down and hurting your bum. How to kind of roll into it. A lot of I focus a lot with these guys on the judo because they're very comfortable standing. And in the judo, the adaptive judo, we don't have submissions.
Right.
Because a lot of people on the spectrum might be hypermobile.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
Some may crave the cradling and the deep pressure, where other people can't stand touch.
Yeah.
So it chokes. Maybe someone may not realise they're in danger, and the other guy's going, "Yeah, this is fine." So by removing those more dangerous elements, we can give them a really enriching environment where they can practice.
Right. Yeah.
Like one game, we're talking about the pins. Pins a massive thing in judo. If you pin someone for 20 seconds, you win. That's no easy feat. But one of the games we say, we're going to play flip the burger. Okay, so I kind of play the role of, we're playing SpongeBob SquarePants for the younger guys. So we're in the Krusty Krab. You have to flip your burger and then you have to flatten it. Okay, so really simple. The idea, partner's lying down on their tummy. Okay, nice and flat. The guy has to turn them over by any means necessary, and then pin him and flatten down the Krabby Patty. They're playing a character. Before you know it, they've learned how to do a turnover and straight into a play. Right.
These are all fantastic things for kids as well. Generally, I think. Super. Yeah.
Kids, adults as well.
Right.
You play. There's a game with adults I play, and if we're doing like toe holds or something like that, say you're rolling and you're going to try to do a toe hold, and they go, okay, it's get very competitive. But if we say, okay, I want you to go put your socks on, you have to take the other guy's socks off.
Mm-hmm.
Before you know what, they are twisting, turning, but they're trying to get the feet and they have to hold the foot in position to take the sock off.
Right, yeah.
So by teaching those games,
yeah, before you know it, you've got something.
you've got a skill that you can use.
And is this like, is this something, I suppose you'd say, unique to autism, or is it like?
I encompass it into everything.
Right.
So then the people with autism or the autistic people don't feel alienated.
Right.
That this is a specific activity because you're autistic.
Right. Okay.
We're all going to play this together, and let's focus on what we can do rather than what could be hard, and then we can elevate as we progress.
Yeah.
And even in my mainstream classes, we would play similar games, and then a lot of kids from the mainstream class would go, "That was great crack. Where can we do more of that?" Come to the Judo Assist classes.
Right. Okay.
And
Yeah.
before you know it, you get like nearly 50-50.
Yeah. Mix,
And then you're getting inclusive, and you're getting integration, but you're getting reverse integration as well.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got friendships, and some of the most obscure friendships come in because of common interests and things like that.
And that's super. Yeah, that's great to see. And that's what you want. So I think when we talk about like inclusivity and kind of having a diverse population of kids in your class, I think a lot of times what people think it is I don't want to use the word patronizing. I think that's not really but
tokenism,
like the tokenism an element. Oh, well, it's okay because we have this kid in the corner and we look after him in his own little way, but that's not really inclusive because that's not including them in the class, and that's not. So that's just the thing. That's like, it's like a project.
It's like a project.
Yeah.
That person is not a riddle to be solved.
Yeah.
There's just a person who sees the world and acts a little bit different. Doesn't mean it's wrong. We can learn from that person. We can get in, and once we're all playing in, before you know it, the mimicking behaviour becomes. So the autistic child who's doing a class or whatever, they start mimicking the guys who are doing the behaviour really well.
Yeah.
And straight away, now you have someone who is comfortable, has a routine, knows the patterns, and is the exact same as everybody else.
Yeah. And they've got behavioural models as well
to do. And look, and myself and James Mulroy he'd be the guy who really created Judo Assist in Ireland. Okay, fantastic guy. He's the guy that myself and him would go tour around Europe, giving talks and that kind of stuff. The phrase he uses: normal where possible, adapted where necessary.
Okay. That's, I like that.
Yeah, and that's the ethos of my team and our team below is kind of more than a team.
Right.
You look after each other. Like, so example, some kids in the class may be ADHD and the noise. So if you have a few people who maybe are ADHD in the class, one person is loud, another one builds on top and on top and on top. Very hard.
Yeah.
You know, as a coach,
difficult to coach in, difficult to learn in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But also very different for someone who would have a noise sensitivity. You know? So the question is, should I remove the people with ADHD because they're being perceived as being
bold? Yeah.
Or should I remove the people with the noise sensitivity because they're not able to cope? No. Adapt it. If they want to wear ear defenders, no problem. And I would tell the people who are a little bit noisier, say, could you please try and reduce the noise, because I myself find the hearing very hard.
Yeah.
You know? And I would explain it from the autistic person's point of view that I'm finding this very hard and I want you to be able to learn this, but if it's really noisy, it's very hard for me. I don't put it on the other students. It's me.
It's my responsibility here.
And the noise hurts me on a personal level.
Right.
Now, not in a hurts my feelings or anything like that. But it hurts my head.
It's in my ears.
And then you're not signaling anyone out. That's really important as well.
Yeah, and I think there's my wife's a teacher for many years now, and of course I've coached a long time as well, and we speak a lot about identifying a kid and your eye being drawn to the bold kid in the class, and something we work on with the coaches or the kids coaches here is that you cannot continue, even if the behaviour is something you don't like. Your eye is drawn to that person, and what you'll find is that the quote unquote normal kid on the other side is doing the exact same thing, but you let it go, but your eye is drawn here. So now what you have is, I said, if you could have one of those little counters, click, the counter. 100%. I said, imagine having one of those little counters in your head, and imagine how many times you say that kid's name.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click.
And you get a bias to it.
Yes.
And that's it. And it's even subconscious. You're not even realizing what you're doing. Yeah.
And that's the hardest part, because once it is subconscious, it just happens. It's just starting to happen, and now it takes somebody to step back and identify it for you. Hey, listen, you're singling him out.
Yeah, and they talk about in loads of jobs and all about reflective learning and just coming back and talk about it. Sometimes when you're driving home and you've listened to a podcast about something, look, I'm an absolute nerd, so I'd probably listen to Warhammer or something like that.
Right, okay.
But I'll get home and I go, right, now that my mind is detached from that class, what went well, what could I improve on? And I'd sit for maybe 5 minutes in the car. The dog was going mad in the house waiting for daddy to come home. And what could I change? Okay, this activity heightens somebody. So maybe let's reduce that or put it to later on in the class when all the core mechanics of the class, and then it's just kind of play and crash bang wall up work. It's fine.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a big, our dojos are big padded rooms. Nobody's going to get hurt.
It's difficult to hurt yourself.
It's very hard.
You'd have to be really trying.
You'd have to be really trying, and it can be done. It can be done. But sometimes being reflective and looking back at what worked and what could work better. Just because something didn't work on that day doesn't mean it won't work. Maybe it didn't work on that day because the people weren't getting it. Maybe you weren't delivering it the right way. Maybe there was outside influences. Sometimes I find if you're teaching a class, and I like to have parents on the side, for a few reasons. Because sometimes a child might say, that coach grabbed me. Okay? Now, that child says that to a teacher in school. Teacher has to follow up.
It's a legal implication.
It's your mandated reporting.
Yeah, they must do it.
But if you have a parent on the side say, he put his arm around him, he was taking a grip over the shoulder. And particularly, if we're working with females and stuff like that, we have to be very careful because it's a grappling sport. We're gripping gis, and it's the nature of it. But that's why I keep a couple of parents. But whilst they're there, they're loving what they're doing, but they're also talking about it. And this elevates noise as well. And it can be distracting.
That is the issue.
It's a double-edged sword.
We don't do it here, so we have no parents here. We have two coaches on the mat, 2 or 3 at all times, so that we have that kind of same parental thing. But we had to stop the parents from coming up.
I had to actually have to stop them taking pictures of the class.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, I know why they want to have it, but we always say we have a no phone zone in here, so you're not allowed to bring your phone in at all. You can leave it in your bag. And we said we've two exceptions. One is you're on call for work, or B, your wife is 9 months pregnant. Right, that's it. Yeah. If she's 6 months pregnant, you still can't have it. Right? And we don't require any tests or anything like that. But what we just found as well with parents there's a lot of videoing going on, but there's another kid in that video.
Yeah, and that's it. The only pictures we allowed is the family picture at the end of class. The kids love that, and the parents, if they want, they can go on to the Instagram. Grand screenshot. There's that picture. That's everyone said they can be in it. Happy days. And we do a nice picture, and we do the silly picture where they're climbing all over the coaches and whatever. It's fine. Kind of highlights the fun emphasis of it. And you will see in the pictures, some people will hang back, some people will climb over. Doesn't matter. When you actually look deeper into what the picture is, you can find some evidence, some personality. There's huge personalities. You have guys who love Michael Jackson, and out of nowhere they're doing a Michael Jackson pose. So it's all fun, but it's focusing on the strengths of. In the class, it's focused on the strengths of the people in your class, not the deficits.
So tell me this: is there within the Judo Assist Program? Is there sort of a if a kid is incapable of going to, say, a regular Jiu-Jitsu or Judo class, is there kind of a graduated thing? Do you find that kids graduate out? Do you find that they start in the assist class and can move into regular training?
We've had that. We've had very successful. On that. Okay. Now it can take a little bit of transition to go from the Judo Assist rules to the mainstream rules. Okay, because example,
chokes, for example, which you were saying before,
so one of the rules in Judo Assist and all is there's no headlock throws. Okay, or there's no Hana Kezgatami, where you're pinning the head. And the reason for that one is people with Down syndrome would have atlantoaxial instability, which is a deficit or a weakness in the neck, where literally if you squeeze hard enough, their head will literally come off.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it dislocate their head off their neck.
Right,
That's in very lay person's terms. So in order to allow people with Down syndrome to compete, you take away that rule.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Where they can't do that. Something now they're safe. You know, you can do it regular Keizugatami, a hold down, you know, under the arms, no problem. You can do hip throws, no problem. But you don't need to put someone in a headlock to throw.
Okay.
You know? And I don't know if you've ever been thrown in one of those kind of. It was quite the bang.
Yeah, it's quite nasty. It's
quite
not
nasty.
a pleasant experience.
You
Yeah.
know, so like you just make the adaptations, and I was saying that for people to progress up along, it's fine. You just take your time, and gradually introduce them. We have a few of the athletes now who do my judo class on a Friday evening who start off in the Judo Assist Program. No problem.
Right.
No problem.
Yeah.
You're just aware that, look, they're older. They're now adults.
Yeah.
You know, they're not little Johnny anymore. They're now Big Jim.
Yeah.
You know, and they want it. They're well able. You know,
They're more than capable of doing it.
more than capable.
And again, I think there's kind of a sense, and I think we talk about that tokenism element as well, where you say, well, that guy has this or has that, and it's like, but there's still a person. You know, that's an adult. That's
Like I'm not going to go full crack randori with them, you know, or shy like, but I'm going to play around with judo, nice and relaxed with them, and they catch me. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, play to that rule set. You're going to learn yourself to adapt your game, to learn new moves, new techniques, new movement patterns. And they're also going to get to train with the guys who are off competing in Euros.
Yeah.
You know, and that guy's won All Ireland so many times. And I'm getting to go and train with that guy. And I caught him.
Yeah.
What do you think that does for
fantastic
the confidence?
Experience. Yeah.
You know, and confidence builds it, achievement, motivation.
Yeah.
They want more and more.
Let's not forget the reverse is true as well, because if you're somebody who has the humility and kind of gains the experience of working with someone like that, now I think that makes you a better person for it, because you're going to understand, well, hold on, especially if you're a young guy, if you're some young super stud capable of throwing somebody through the floor, and now you have to modulate your behaviour, you have to use less aggression, you have to work with technique, and you have to be kind and generous. That's it.
But Barry, that's the emphasis of martial arts in general.
That's a principle of martial arts.
For me, that's what it's about. It's about becoming a better person. Look, we've only got a certain finite amount of competition years, if that's the way you're geared, and then it's what you do after that. Do you give back? You know, but the whole thing is making yourself better, and the whole idea of making society better and helping people, building them up. Like, what's the point in going and say, oh, there is a white belt over there, I'm going to go smash that guy because it's going to make me feel and look better.
Yeah.
What are you gaining?
What's the end game
what's
here?
The end game? It's very similar. You know, so someone who's already coming in with disadvantages at time, or perceived disadvantages, what's the point in putting them down? Build them up, and there you go. You've made a stronger unit. You're going to advance your own training. You're making such a difference to their life that you don't even realise.
Yeah. It's huge. And I speak a lot in terms of young kids, and even like all the kids, and even some adults.
Oh yeah.
I was only speaking last week. I gave a guy a stripe one time, 19 years of age. And I thought he was going to cry. And I went, oh, what's going on here? Now, it was stripe on the belt. Wasn't a big ceremony. I just went, okay, guys, I'm giving out some stripes. And I gave him a stripe. And he looked at me like, and I didn't know. A little part of me was going, does he think he's being kind of patronised? Or what is this? But he came over after. He said, I've never got anything before. Of anything. And I said, what do you mean? In sport, he said, I've never, like, I've passed exams. This is my first ever, like, anything. Medal. And I went, well, listen, he goes, oh, thanks so much. It was all over his Instagram, everything. I felt bad because I should have made a bigger deal. I said, But you'd be very surprised what the positive can give, but you'd be also very surprised what the negative, particularly somebody who's very sensitive, particularly somebody on the autism spectrum, who, again, we're talking about really intelligent people. We're not talking about, just because behaviours that people might exhibit are not in your normal spectrum of behaviours, it does not mean we're talking about someone who doesn't understand what they're being spoken to about.
Oh, definitely.
And it's the negative aspects of that they can drill down pretty deep.
They can really drill. And there's people can be so reflective. Example, we would have some members of our team who are pre-verbal. I don't use the word non-verbal. Okay, because that implies that it's never going to happen. Pre-verbal, maybe right now they're not speaking. And maybe they might be able to stim or sing, but to have a verbal conversation may not be the case, or they get home or whatever. But just because the ability to, and it's to quote, I can't remember what movie it was, but it was a case of the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. It's Qui-Gon Jinn from
Qui-Gon Jinn. That is Star Wars. Yes, I knew it. Yeah.
Doesn't make you intelligent.
Yes, true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So just because someone may not speak in the way that we speak in general, doesn't equate to their intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had a grading last year. A fantastic young lady in it, pre-verbal. Okay. Went on, got her first judo belt, which we gave was the red belt. Okay. And meant the absolute world to her. But she does this great thing called RPM, rapid prompting method, where her communication tool is like an alphabet, and she puts the letters, writes out like typing, you know, and it meant so much to her, but she knew she could do it.
Right.
And she was delighted that other people said she couldn't.
Right.
So she's like, I can do this. And parents were delighted. Grandparents showed up for this grading and all that.
Right, yeah.
For me, it's like you were saying with the stripe. Okay? Not people from the outside don't recognise the effort and workload people put into it.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, that person's autistic, oh, that person has cerebral palsy. They won't be able to achieve that. Spite's a great trait. When someone tells you can't do something, I've had it all my life. Sean, you're smaller than everybody else. Your body's in bits.
Yeah.
You know, how are you still going? I'm not dead yet.
Yeah.
You know, and this is it. You know, and it's the exact same.
Interestingly enough, now that you've said it to me, it's going to give me another year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Masters 4, here we come.
I keep doing that. I'm Masters 4 already.
Oh.
Yeah, 46 this year. So
you're only a pup.
Only a pup. Yeah, it's funny how that goes. I remember reading about Michael McKillop, the Paralympian. So he was born with cerebral palsy.
Okay, yeah.
And I think his 1500 meter time was like good enough to qualify for the European Championships. But essentially, his father had him in very painful leg braces for years, just to stop him from developing some of the traits of cerebral palsy. The net result was he like I said, he was on an elite level. He would have been possibly an Olympian in the regular Olympics. And it was just a matter of willpower and, as you said, spite. I suppose not being treated like, well, that's never going to happen for you. So just give up.
Sometimes you need someone to believe in you.
Yeah.
And that's it. And a lot of time, parents and families, they fight so hard. So when they get a hold of something, they're not letting go.
Yeah.
You know? And as a coach, I think you have to understand that sometimes the families will want you to do so much more for them. Okay? And it's hard for you to do it, but you have to believe in yourself to be able to deliver that as well.
Right, yeah.
You know, you have to be comfortable. And like that example there, pushing without pushing them too far, to start resenting it is the important thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a difficult balance to find as well. It is. It's very hard.
And looking after yourself as well. Because when you're trying to carry a lot of other people's expectations as a coach, can be very, you know, we had a judo coaching course there 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about mental health for the coach and how important it is. Because if your coaches will, you know, you'll sit down, you'll talk to people, and they'll offload to you. You know yourself. Sometimes the hardest thing is to get people out of your gym at the end of the evening.
That can be tricky.
Talking. Yeah. And they'll unload stuff on you.
Yeah.
And so to be able to look after yourself is really important.
Yeah.
And particularly sometimes families with kids who they've had to fight for all their lives, and they see you are helping them.
Yeah.
They're like, it means so much, and it's usually words of pure gratitude.
Yeah, which is great, but they can be emotionally heavy as well. You know, even the gratitude elements when they're positive. Yeah. And the weight of expectation comes with that too.
It does.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, the fear of success breeds more success.
Yeah.
And people expect more and more and more.
So that's the I think it's that phenomenon of people talking to you. I think it's like I have a friend who's a massage therapist as well, and he says the same thing. It's like, it's almost like you're in a position of authority. They're relaxed with you, and then suddenly out comes the biggest problem they've had in the world, and you go, oh, whoa. Yeah. Oh, hold on, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. I just teach jiu-jitsu, mate. I don't know if you noticed, but this is not about arm bars. See, what you're telling me now. Yeah. But you do get that. And I think as well, especially with families, because I think, again, when you talk to a parent who's been struggling so much, and it's hard to get
access to anything.
And they're on waiting list after waiting list. And suddenly here's something that the kid can do, and it's positive, and it's great for them. So obviously, like, there's a tendency there to go, Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You can't let it inflate you too much. I think that's what the first thing was like. Hold on now, you're just teaching jiu-jitsu, but it's hugely positive, or judo.
100%.
It's massively positive in your
same sport, different rules, or same jacket, different rules. That's it. But it's great. It's fantastic. But as Irish people, we're not great at accepting compliments. We just go, that's just what I do.
Yeah.
And then you're not one that come across sound like some kind of bloody superhero or anything like that. That's just part of what you do and how you do it. And that's it. And
it's kind of built into the sport in many ways.
People don't expect much.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're used, people unfortunately are used to rejections and not getting what they need. And then when they're getting it, they're so thankful.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going, it's just what I'm doing. And sometimes we don't, as coaches who are doing these kind of things, we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Yeah, which is
it's
important.
I think our trophies are at,
but I think at the end of the day, you create an environment in which people can come, and you've obviously created an environment there, and through the Judo Assist Program as well, you've created something where people can come in and go, right, this is for everyone, literally for everybody.
This is literally for everyone,
and this is not somewhere where we can. This is not somewhere where it could be excluded or anything else like that. We're going to try and help you.
If you have a wheelchair user, Barry, just because they use a wheelchair doesn't mean they can't do Judo and Jiu-Jitsu.
Right,
Maybe the standing part might be hard. Putting down their belly, they can wrestle the best standing on. I guarantee you their upper body strength is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, you're going to have a tough time.
You're going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
So if we have an example of another game, if I have a wheelchair user, we'll play tag, worm tag. We're all lying on our bellies. Tag someone, they try hold the bridge. Someone crawls under them. It's like stuck in the mud. Just adapt to the ability of the people in the class and focus on the person who might find it the hardest, and then you can build up and up and up before you know it. Worm tag becomes bear crawl tag, which becomes regular tag.
Okay, awesome.
Right.
Like, how do you go from just training judo and jiu-jitsu to suddenly teaching a class on Judo Assist? Well, not suddenly at all. Did it come around?
You know what, Barry? I suppose my own background, education wise and all that, I did social care, degree in social care first, and then I did a degree in recreation leisure management, and then I done an MA in sports and exercise psychology. And I always loved working with people with disabilities, and I thought it was great. And I always kind of thought, Jesus, why can't people do this? Why can't people have the fun that I do and get it? Because team sports are not for everyone. It's very easy.
They're not for me.
No. I done them, and I was the guy that they used to put onto the pitch at halftime. You see your man over there, you do the job on him. Take him out. I was like, right, I'm good. I'm naturally good at this kind of stuff. Like boxing says, so individual sports, but they allowed you to be you and to stand on your own feet and all that. And I kind of thought, right, team sport isn't for everyone. I love this. Why can't I do this kind of training for people I work with or kids and that? And then I linked in and I watched on RT Primetime. There was James Murray, as I said before, was piloting this program up in, I think it was Nina and Galway and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a good little half an hour kind of thing. And I was like, oh God, I'd love to bring that down to Wexford. Because there's such a demand for these kind of things, and there's so much OT and physios and all looking for activities for kids. And I was going, I'd love to do this. So I went up and done a one-day training course, met James, and it's like, we could do something here. We could really do something. And then I brought it back and just using my backgrounds and all that as well. And I have an acute awareness of disabilities as well. So it's like, right, let's implement this. Why not? Let's focus on what we can do rather than what we can't. Let's adapt it and focus on play. And before you know it, you get great players. And that was my kind of introduction to it and my passion for it. And then I suppose, before COVID, I was running the whole of it was called Team Caveman back then. Okay, and Portugal Gold team was our jiu-jitsu team. And during COVID, then we were being charged, as everyone knows, for the full rental of the place, didn't have the money and all that. And two of the guys, Nicky Donnelly and Junior Donius Miranda,
I know the two of them,
came in. It's like, let's work together. And I was like, great. If I can come away from the main running of things and I can focus on this project, brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's how we done it. Look, I'm head coach down in the gym down below. Junior handles international relations. Nicky keeps the place going, does the financing. perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, because you can't do everything by yourself.
Oh, and if I could pass on, let's turn this into the business coaching podcast for 5
100%.
seconds. If you delegate some responsibilities, you're going to grow so much.
100%.
Yeah. To the right person.
To the right person. You have to trust, you have to know them.
Yeah.
And know the real person behind it as well.
Yeah, I want to say I do almost nothing here. But actually I do the worrying here. That's what I do.
You do the worrying, yeah.
I do the worrying.
Yeah.
I keep the doors open.
Yeah.
And I do the worrying. But everybody else, if you just turn around and say, no, actually, but it frees you up for two things. Frees you up, A, to worry about the business.
Yeah.
It frees you up to, you have so much time to have sleepless nights. But the other thing that it frees you up to do is personal projects, things that you go, no, I'm going to take this thing that I'm really, really interested in, and I'm going to focus on this.
And this is it. And it's, if you go in business, it's a unique selling point.
Yeah.
And you can tell that business, like, we're the only place around that does this.
Yeah.
And it's not to make money, but it's a fact.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think there's nothing wrong. And this was, I think, my first 5 or 6 years running an academy or trying to make a full time out of it. I couldn't marry the martial arts elements with the fact that it had to make money.
Yeah.
And I had a huge, I kind of had ethical issues about selling.
We were the same.
Oh, what do I do? But a guy told me something brilliant once, and actually it's something I almost live for. And he used to be a salesman for a huge fitness company. And he said, if you believe in it, you can say anything short of lying to someone to make, because you know that they're going to enjoy it. Yeah. So you can do anything. Give them a special offer. Give them a month free. Tell them it's going to change their life, because you know it will.
You will. Yeah. And this is the truth.
It's only when you're lying that you're unethical. It's only
and that's it. And to go full circle, that allowed me the flexibility to do and focus. Like, I teach 4 classes a week of adaptive judo. That's
incredible.
The 5:30. I only do those on a Tuesday and a Friday. There's a 5:30 class for the younger kids, or the kids that are being introduced to it, and then there's a 6:30 class. They're only 45 minutes because you have to kind of vary for attention spans and stuff. People get tired. It's a long day, like we're saying, masking all day or being in the car for 2 hours before you get there. It's a lot of energy to get out. Yeah,
and do people travel far and wide?
Yeah,
I'd say so. Yeah, because it's so limited to find. And when we spoke to, we're thinking about something here at the moment. We have, I think I was telling you, the last time we were speaking. So we have a contact now through Football for All, and we're thinking about putting on a class. Our problem is at the moment, you know what it's like in September, is we're out the door. We're running left and right and centre, but we are going to do it. We're kind of committed to it. I was talking to the other kids' coaches. We really want to do it. And even if we can do it just for a short-term basis and have a look at it, what I couldn't believe is how many people are crying out for it. There is no activities for kids who can't adapt, who can't just fit into that.
They don't fit into the regular mould.
The regular mould,
we would have, so where the gym is in Gorey, the Gorey Grappling Academy, okay? So we would have people travelling from Wexford Town, which is a good 45 minutes. We'd have people travelling from Wicklow Town.
Right,
down to us.
Yeah, that's a good haul.
That's a long hour haul. To commit for a 45-minute class, that's a long time.
Yeah, long time in the car and a long time back. A long time on diesel.
A long on diesel. But people will do it because they get what they need.
And here's something that can really help
for them. Yeah, but the opportunities it brings as well, Barry. Like, we brought athletes to represent their country. Last year we brought them to Greece for a week in the Flower of Inclusion Games in Loutraki. Fantastic sports campus. We were sharing it with international athletes. Our lads are international athletes.
Amazing.
The year before we were in Switzerland. So we had a judo tournament, a judo festival up in the Alps. And next May, we're going to be over there again. So if anyone wants to donate money towards helping us do that.
All right, there's a plug. No problem.
Yeah.
If you have a GoFundMe or anything like that, we'll do the thing there. Yeah.
But opportunities, saying, I got to represent my country.
Yeah, and opportunities for you as a coach. You're an international coach now, and you've done something.
Coach now.
If you sit back at the end of your coaching career, when they've eventually kick you and drag you off the mats, what are you going to say you did? Like, are you going to say, well, I earned a living for a little while. It's not going to be a very no, it's not going to be something you tell your grandkids when they're sitting on your knee. I wonder, is there I'm I make stupid commitments all the time, but I think there's scope there. I think within even the island of Ireland there for something for us to do there with in terms of adaptive programs for tournaments and stuff like that. I think we'll have a look at that.
I think so.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. There's loads of people who are interested in doing it, but there's a lot of work in it.
Yeah,
and that's it's getting the people around the table to what and who. It's not vested interest. It's not trying to get grants or anything like that. It's to do it for the main purpose of the athletes.
Yeah, and if you have that drive, it'll get done.
It'll get done.
It
get the right people around the table. It will, and that's, I said, I'll invite you, if you're available, come on up to Nina on that event.
Oh, absolutely. I will. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
We always open up with a warm up with everyone. All right.
Yeah.
Mainstream, adaptive players. We all do the one big warm up. So you have like 120, 130 people with multiple different languages. Like we'd have the Swiss over, the Spanish. They all come over to Nina in Tipperary for an event. All right, as obscure as that, it's not Dublin.
Yeah,
right?
It's
Nina. All right, but we're all together.
Apologies to anyone from Nina.
Apologies for I think it's lovely. I get hats off to the hotel there. They always look after me well. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're all in. We do the one big warm up, 20-minute warm up. It's usually led by myself, lepping, jumping, booking, and making fun of myself. Mm-hmm. But everyone is entertained. But they're all warmed up.
Right,
and they're all after having the crack, and they're all after running around high-fiving, saying each other's names.
And they're together. Yeah. And even there's a lot to be said for that within, I think, the scope of regular kids tournaments as well. You know, it can get pretty hyper competitive. I was trying to explain to a parent one time.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I said, listen, it's not like this at adult tournaments. Yeah, it's actually not like this. There is less noise. It's so quiet. Yeah, it's almost so quiet. Like when you go to a jiu-jitsu tournament, you could hear a pin drop at some of them. I said, it's actually, the screaming and roaring. It just doesn't, the hyper competitiveness. Yeah, it doesn't actually exist. Like you can go to a masters tournament, for example, and everybody's just walking around talking to each other, and then adult level, it's different because these guys are making their careers. Yeah, there's high tension, there's high stress. Okay, I want to win. I want to be the best, and this is my window to do so. Yeah. At kids level, I'm like, oh guys, just let them train, let them fight, let them enjoy themselves. And you do see it, in fairness. You can see it especially among certain clubs who have that attitude. They come off, they hug each other at the end. The coach isn't shouting, the coach is just talking, and let them fight, let them go, let them have a go.
Let them be them kids, let them learn.
Yeah,
by just enjoying it rather than pressure. Pressure just, it makes you tense. And then you're so focused on everything else. You're not focused on the event and the actual match. For example, you go to a thing, you do your weigh-in. After that, your worry is done.
Yeah,
that's for me as an adult. I do my way in. The rest is fun,
and the rest is this is what I'm here to do.
This is what I'm here to do. And for kids, if someone's shouting in at them, look, a coach might suggest a position or something like to move. That's different. If someone says, "Well, you come on, man." How does that make someone feel when they can't do it?
They go from if you do this. They did this thing in the UK. There's a Twitter page actually called Working with Parents in Sport. It's really, really good actually if you have a look at it. And they did the click timer that we were talking about earlier. They had a click timer, and they stand beside the coach and they stand beside the parent as well. Especially if it's a parent coach or someone involved, and they click every instruction. And it's like 7 instructions a minute or something was like a good one. Like, I can't absorb 7 instructions. I can't absorb 7 instructions an hour.
That's an overload.
Yeah,
it's too much information. How can you
so there's no decision making then for the kid as well. So it's and again we're getting off the point, I suppose, of adaptive coaching, but
actually we're in similar with adaptive coaching, depending on the level of the athlete. So if we go rank them level 1 to 5. Level 1, they can fight. They'll be able to have a full blown randori with the likes of myself or someone. Level 5, someone you have to get in play and jump and make the game for them. Okay, depending on their level, gives you the amount of information as a coach you can shout into them.
Okay, right. Okay?
So if it's a level 1, so the high level, can't say a word. Okay, if it's kind of level 3, kind of middle, you can shout in a little bit of encouragement.
Right.
And the last one, level 5, all the encouragement in the world.
Right.
You know? But if someone else is shouting in, the referee will stop the match and ask the person to stop.
Shh.
And if they don't, they'll be asked to leave.
Well,
and that's so important to protect
we did
the athletes.
silent tournaments here in the gym. The only reason I don't do them anymore is our parking is terrible outside. I don't know, you didn't notice, right? But we have we don't have the facilities really to do it in the external. And the kids loved it. The parents loved it.
Yeah.
The coaches were allowed to coach.
Yeah.
But even what we said to the coaches was, you can't raise your voice. So you can talk to the kid in your commanding voice, but you can't shout. And once you go above a certain volume, we're going to tell you to be quiet.
Yeah.
And like that, the referee stopped the match. And I was going around because I wasn't reffing. I was like, hey, shh, you know.
Yeah.
So the rules were applause at the end, cheer at the end, both hands are raised. Everyone cheers when both hands are raised. Big applause for effort.
Brilliant.
It was really enjoyable. The kids loved it, everything. And then when they went to the next one we did after that was in a really small sports hall, really echoey. And the parents came in and went, God, bring back the silent tournament. So I said, I know. It's like, that's the way it is. And it's not, it's not because I think parents are necessarily terrible at coaching or like that, but you do get
There's
involved.
emotional involvement, and that's it.
And then it becomes like, well, he's shouting, I'd better shout. I want to be heard.
I want my kid to hear my support.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. You know, like even the sound systems in places. You know, what we use for the adaptive judo is we use each mat is a colour, okay, rather than a number, and there's a big balloon above it. You're on the green mat, you're on the blue mat, you're on the red mat.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah.
Big screen, bang, bang, and you can see the time so you know when you're coming.
Ah, lovely. Yeah.
You know, you're going to be at the green mat at this time, and it's constantly fed up. You know, like smooth comp and all that. You know your time.
Yeah, it's
very similar system. It's fantastic. I don't know why other people don't use those kind of things.
Yeah,
it's
that's
brilliant.
easy.
But it takes away the extra noise of having to listen out for a name or to know where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
So if you have parents there or you have the coaches, you know, in time, like you're going to have this guy ready to go to that big yellow balloon over there at that time.
And again, it's about reducing pressures, reducing expectations, reducing the unknown, which is again what we're coming back to from the start of the conversation.
Like another great thing is, you know, in judo, if you pin someone for the 20 seconds, okay, the whistle or the buzzer goes off. Okay, great. To someone who isn't noise sensitive. But for someone who's noise sensitive or something like that, we just protect everybody. When the time is up for a pin, you throw in a beanbag. Referee gets it.
Yeah,
time's done.
It strikes me that, especially, let's come back to we've got about 15 minutes to go here. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit in the last little while about what benefits the average jiu-jitsu coach now can have from starting to kind of make their own environment, even if they're not running a specific class, to making their own environment a little bit more friendly, I suppose. Yeah. I'm just going to move your mic ever so slightly if you're leaning forward.
Not a bother. Yeah.
Sorry for the big noise there, everyone on the thing. So what would make it a little bit more friendly?
Right. One thing would have coaches who are aware. You know, so look, local sports partnerships do loads of autism awareness online Zoom lessons. Okay, great. They're about €20. Okay, nice. Gives a little bit of awareness. Okay, for facility wise, you know, one of the things what we did was we adjusted our lighting. You know, so sometimes with the incandescent lights, you know, the flicker.
Yeah.
Very hard on the eyes.
Okay.
So we just get the LED ones. We're steady, low, nice, relaxed. Okay. If you have things like fans and things like that, have them higher. Okay. The reason for that is because people don't get distracted.
Okay.
By the fans.
Right,
They'll go over and have a look. Some kids have long hair and they'll go like this so they can get to feel the wind in their face and the hair going back. Okay. You know, it's an issue for me sometimes, Barry.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to say that is not something I'm likely to suffer from anytime soon, unless I have a very long trip to Turkey.
Yeah. But but little thing, colours. Okay. So sometimes a place can be overstimulating, so loads of pictures and all that. While that's lovely and it's great, like if you display all your medals, okay, it's great. Everyone sees all the medals. It's great. But someone who likes to tactile stimulation, likes to touch things, they're going to come in. They're going to click along them all. They love that lovely sound.
Yeah.
While they like that, someone else is in the group.
This is you're describing a very familiar scenario to some of our kids now. And just as I think of it now, there's something we can do immediately to help a couple of kids.
So you could either put them higher or put them in frames. You know, if you want to show them off, lovely.
Right.
You know? But you know, just be aware of how one person is regulating themselves or enjoying something, it may also set someone else up higher.
Yeah.
And then maybe that person might, as has to quote unquote kind of act out. Okay, well, I despise that kind of quote, but maybe their cup is full.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they do something there, and they're the bad guy. Well, they've been set up for it without anyone knowing.
Yeah, this is you didn't provide them the tools to basically to be themselves. Instead, you've kind of given them sort of an environment in which they're likely to.
They're likely to, and then they feel bad with themselves. You get a parent, not complaining but apologising because the child was doing their best but wasn't able, and you're going, it's not your fault.
Yeah, we all need the tools to succeed, right? Yeah. So if you walked in to a room that was filthy and bad mats and stuff like that, you're unlikely to be able to train very well. So why not just do those very small adaptations? So low lighting is
low
noise, loud timers, maybe low light.
What I do with the timer is I instead of using the big team buzzer.
Yeah.
Okay, we have them. We use in the mainstream, no problem at all. But sometimes they can scare some of the kids.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing the time, I just keep it on my phone. It's on me. Yeah. You can very easily just pop it in the gi, take it out if you're demonstrating. Mm-hmm. No problem at all. Low arousal state stuff is really good.
Okay. Yeah.
And that way the guys who are maybe more advanced, whatever, they don't mind.
Yeah. They don't care.
They get it. Other things that you can do. Okay, would be I don't allow music in the Judo Assist classes. Mm-hmm. Okay, a lot of gyms have music playing during the classes, but if I have that, that's another distraction.
Yeah, it's more noise. It's more noise. Yeah,
and they're wondering what music is coming on next. Which artist? I don't like that one.
Okay, there's a sense of unfamiliarity then as well, and the unexpected is
the unexpected. Now I do play games sometimes where I put on music, maybe a song from Moana or something like that, and they're kind of doing musical statues of judo. So they're doing nice, playful randori. They can't go aggressive because then they won't listen to the song. Mm-hmm. Right? And the music stops. They have to stop in that move.
Right.
So they're paying attention. So there's always little things you can do.
Yeah.
But it's you can marry things to work, because if they're familiar with things and they know what's happening, it's great.
Yeah.
What I would suggest for a lot of people is have crash mats. Okay. So how I always finish the class is I always finish it off with, we call it the wall. Okay, so do you remember gladiators?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they're jumping over everything and all that. We put a crash mat down and a higher one on sideways. So they run and they have to do a sideward break fall over it and get a big crash on the backside. So they're both learning how to do break falls, but all they see is jumping over a wall.
Great opportunity
they do it, but that's always the closing.
Right,
so they know no matter what's happening, this is coming.
Right, the same thing every time. So routine. It's familiarity, routine. Yeah, and I suppose that's very much about how you conduct yourself as well, and the coaches, how they conduct themselves. We were discussing this last night about kids coaching, about not being too enthusiastic.
Yeah,
and I know that sounds crazy because you can't be enthusiastic every day. You've got to be.
That's what we're saying. Like you're masking sometimes.
Yeah, so you can't be like, "Hey, what's up?" That's manic.
Yeah,
right. So it's like, well, what mood is this guy going to be in today? Is he going to be this or he's going to be this? You must be.
And you're going to get different levels.
Yeah, you must be pretty much level the whole time. Yeah. And I think that's, to be honest, I think that should be the way it is for all coaching, whether you're coaching adults or you're coaching elite.
100%,
you should be around your 80% mark all the time. You shouldn't be at 110 or 40.
Definitely not. No, you'll burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And how when I'm doing my class, I'll give you a quick run through the class. I don't believe in, for the Judo Assist or like that, to do line up in order of grade. I start us all in a circle. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the reason for that, I said anyone who is brave enough to step on a mat to train is a hero. And you all deserve respect.
Lovely.
Okay?
Yeah, very
lovely.
Nice.
We all do our seiza and our bow and all together. But the other side is I know where everyone is and I can see every one of them.
Okay. Yeah, they're not behind each other.
Not behind them.
Yeah, okay.
Because someone could be behind someone, flick an ear or something like that. So I have yourself.
Yeah, kids
are kids. Yeah, but even the adults, I'll do that the same.
Yeah.
I was at the coaching course. We had Angelo Parizzi, ninth dan, and he won the Olympics in 1980. And he was saying he starts all his classes in a circle.
In a circle.
And
all right.
That's because we're all equal. Yes, some people have more experience than others. And he said there's a place for the organised bow off. If it's a big formal event, lovely. But for a class where you're all trying to make each other better, you're all helping each other, circle.
Yeah.
So I do that for that reason. For some of the kids as well, they're talkers. They need to talk. So I would say, okay, for 2 minutes, everyone is going to have a chance to say their news. Okay? So maybe there's something on their mind that they need to get off their chest before they can focus. So the news, I got a new video game. Oh, brilliant. And before you know it, there's someone on the far side of the class that, just what game did you get? Connection.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and I learned a little bit now. Sometimes the parents are terrified of what the news could be.
Yeah, there is. I think especially when you're dealing with I say this about I've I suppose a few students who are on the autistic spectrum, and a lot of people in my life, I suppose, who would be as well. Yeah. And one of the things I said, I remember someone was quite offended by something that somebody had said. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I said, listen to me. You are never going to have to worry about what that guy thinks of you because he's going to tell you. Now, how many people do you have in your life who think that way or speak that way? Yeah. Very few.
Very few.
And this guy's never going to talk behind your back. Yeah. He's never going to turn around and tell you something that he doesn't think. Yeah. He's never going to lie to you. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks when he says it and when it comes in his mind. And you've got to take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But what would you rather?
Yeah, I'd rather honesty here.
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah, that's my favourite type of person. Tell me right now. Don't talk around it, my friend. Go straight at it.
With the news thing, you kind of have to tailor it a bit because it can ramble.
Yeah, it can get on.
You have to timeline it. But the other kind of hidden benefit is if someone's running late, okay, you just come in, they sit in there. And it's before the bout. They haven't missed that in the class.
Yeah, they're still
they're still there. They arrive in. Someone gives me the nod, like, hop in, no bother. And you can sort me out for the class afterwards. No problem, no pressure. Because if you put pressure out, it goes into the class.
Yeah, I think this is the iceberg thing. I suppose you're familiar with that thing, and I think a lot of people aren't familiar with that kind of concept that behaviour is an output, and it depends on the inputs. Yeah. Right, it is dependent upon the inputs. So behaviour is what you see, but what's going on under the surface.
Yeah, stuff you don't see.
Yeah, which is the same with all humans, right? So 100%. But we're talking about people. We're talking about animals and people and anything you can think of. Yeah. But when it comes to kids who struggle and who try and making their effort and masking and
they're at their best to be there.
Yeah, they're already making a whopping effort just to get on the match.
And sometimes they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
They've had a tough day and they really don't want to, but they're being brought, but they never regret going there.
Yeah.
And that's, you're always coming out with a smile, or sometimes like, Sean, you're quite hard on us today. And I was, yeah. Why are you quite hard? Because you got this. You're going to be better than me someday. Really? It's like, stick with it.
Bigging them up and and like at the end of the day, I suppose maybe that's a coaching responsibility, that you send them off.
You send them off
with happy and with a smile on their face, especially at the younger ages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the last part I kind of suggest on it in the class is I finish the class in a circle as well. I remind them what they did in the day. Because so many times people focus on the negatives, what they didn't do, what they weren't able to achieve that day. So send them off with here's the things you did accomplish today.
Right, right.
And then we sit down, we all try hold our breath for 1 minute, and what they have to do in that 1 minute is they have to think about something that made them smile today.
Right.
Whether it's in the gym or at home. And before you know what, they're all getting up now. Some will lep and jump and dance and all through that minute.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter as long as they're holding their breath and they don't die. That's the rules. You have to hold your breath and don't die.
Okay, yeah. Particularly the latter, please.
Particularly the latter. I'm advanced first aid or something. But that's then they understand the jokes.
Yeah.
And important with jokes is to make sure everybody understands them, because autistic people will take things very literally.
Yeah.
So you have to tailor your jokes and humour.
And I think something that people don't really understand is that sarcasm, irony is out.
100%
absolutely out.
Yeah. Direct, simple messages. Yeah. The less words, the better.
And particularly if you're making a withering, sarcastic comment that might be funny to some kids. Oh, I see you've dressed up well today. No, absolutely not.
No,
direct,
it's like, like if you want someone to be honest with you, give you the honest answer. That's how they expect.
Yeah,
exactly.
Give me honesty. Give me direct speech. I'm not going to understand if you give me it sideways. I need it in my face, and I need it clear.
And be aware that a question you might be asked on that day could actually be thought of 2 weeks ago. You may have said something 2 weeks ago, and you get the answer 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
You know, and because maybe they're trying to come up with the answer, or maybe they just didn't think it was relevant answer at the time.
Yeah.
You know, like we're lucky Coach Nicky is over with the B team over in Austin at the moment.
Oh, very
great.
cool.
No, he's coming home this weekend. It's great. I'm looking forward to a nice new rash guard off him. But some of the lads would be asking, where's Coach Nicky? And I will have told them each day. So the regular questions, fine. And then you say, okay, back in 3 days. The countdown is on. Give a real answer.
Okay, yeah.
And that's it. But be aware that something you might ask one day, you might get the answer or the behaviour as a result of the answer a few days later.
Right, yeah. I think that's another one to touch on. I'm afraid we might not have enough time to do it, but in terms of correcting, I don't want to use the word bad behaviour. It's not, but behaviours that might be disruptive
or challenge the class flow or whatever.
So things like, for example, rewards work, right? And short-term charts, things like that, they work.
They can, they really can, and it depends on the athlete themselves,
right?
You know, how they're motivated. Some people are internally motivated, so they want to better themselves or something like that, and then there's people externally rewarded, so they love medals, you know, or they love praise from other people. And that kind of sets you up a lot on how you can understand. A younger age groups, people love praise, and look, as an older grappler, people love praise from people that they value their opinion. You know, like if I came off the mat and maybe lost, and I was like, oh no, and you're someone like yourself goes, geez, you gave him a good go, fair play, pat on the back. I'm going, okay, not bad.
Okay, I'll take that.
Right, I'll take that. You know, but with kids and stuff like that, they associate success with a reward. You know,
there has to be something they can see in their hand, right?
They can see it, they physically see it, and praise from a coach or someone that they value their opinion means so much. You know, but at the same time, don't ostracize someone by not giving credit. Focus on something they did good in the class. If they're looking for validation, they're looking for a little bit of validation, and to their parent as well. Right. Let the parent know he did well today because
he's doing all right.
He's doing all right. You know, the kid mightn't be doing as good as everyone else in some aspects, but they're making progress.
And I think managing expectations should be there should be in the degree on how to manage parents that I'm going to write up and put in Trinity College Dublin.
Absolutely. Right there with the book of Kells.
Year one is going to be managing expectations, but in a positive and negative way, because I do find a lot where people are like, well, look, he's probably not going to do well. I'm actually, hey, you know what, he's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty great. Actually,
redefine your winning.
Exactly. Your successes here might not be the gold medal this time, but you know, let's have a look at what he was 5-6 weeks ago. Let's go and base it on that. You know,
success is having them want to be on the mat.
Oh yeah,
that's
fantastic.
Success. You know.
I think, like, to sum up, I think what we're talking about here, and I think it's coming up more and more. I think, even if you see the messaging that goes out from the major sporting organisations now, and we're talking about the likes of soccer and stuff like that, who have whopping amounts of money, billions to spend on the professional game, and it's such a huge thing. The focus now is on inclusivity. You're talking about that. To come back to football, we got walking football, amputee football. We got that. We got the homeless World Cup. We've got everything.
Yeah, you have blind football. Where they use the bell in the ball. Like, it's
incredible stuff like that. You can kind of see where there is now an emphasis on inclusivity, on involvement of all on board. And I think when you start out coaching, I think your dream is like, I'm going to coach a gold medal winner, blah, blah. And as you get on a bit, you go, actually,
I'm making a difference at this level here.
Yeah, this is the thing that maybe I'm doing right. And I think there was not to go off on my little stories there for a moment. There was a moment about 5 or 6 years ago where I just turned around and I saw a certain success that I'd had, and it certainly wasn't on the mat or in the cage or anything like that. And I actually went, there was a little voice that went back and me, maybe this is what you did. Like, maybe when you finish up, maybe that's the thing that you can say, oh, I did that. I achieved that. That's what I did because I did that for that guy. And then I looked around, and of course I went, I've done that a few times actually, and that hasn't been too bad. Maybe that's the success that I've had. So I think as a message for coaches out there, there's great rewards in working with
people.
Yeah, with people who are
who needs a bit of support,
who need support, who need the help, and maybe they're the people who need it most, and maybe they're the people who you know,
and look, the big thing, no one's going to care what medals you've won. In 20 years' time, Barry, we'll be sitting down, we'll probably be having a coffee watching young lads killing each other on the side of a mat. And no one will remember the medals or titles or whatever that we've won.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it'll be the students that we've trained and the students that they've trained on that are still using some of those techniques and competing. You're going, there's a legacy there that everyone is doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was something that we've helped to create.
Yeah.
And that's and for me, it's people of all levels of ability being able to do that.
Yeah,
you
that's
one of my
powerful thing to be able to give to your community.
Exactly, and one of the things I would love to do is be able to train my Judo Assist athletes, and this is already happening, to become Judo Assist coaches.
Outstanding, yeah.
And that breeds itself, because I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah,
you know, like look, I'm immortal until proven otherwise. But you know, to have it continuing on.
Yeah,
and to make it an improvement for the athletes. That's what it's there for.
So now you'll have that tremendous graduation of coming out of the Judo Assist class to the regular Assist class to move on to instructorhood and to teach and to pass that on, that message on. Yeah, that's a legacy.
That's a legacy.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So listen, let's do some housekeeping at the end. How can people find out more about your academy? First of all, this is your Gory Grappling Academy now. Yeah, of course, you've undergone a name change over the last couple of years. Marketing word. Gory Grappling Academy.
Yeah, you'll find us on Facebook if you still use Facebook, on Instagram as well.
Do people still use Facebook? Do you still use Facebook?
Anything I put on Instagram turns up on Facebook. I find an older demographic still use Facebook more.
Okay,
so if you're marketing to parents...
Oh, right, okay.
There we go.
Okay, mental note.
Right,
to pass on to that guy, delegate that stuff on to whatever we spoke about earlier. All right, okay.
But that's a big Gory Grappling Academy. You'll find us. If you want to find more on the Judo Assist Program, just type into Google Judo Assist Ireland, you will find us.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Any plans for Jiu-Jitsu Assist?
We're looking at possibilities of it. And legitimately, myself and James are looking, how can we transition it? It would be a matter of adapting rules to suit it, you know, having the right people involved, and getting those right people around the table, sitting down, no egos. What can we do for those athletes? Yeah. And that's the core to it. There's an awful lot of people who want to. And that's the thing. But find it hard to find the time to do it, because
everybody's a busy guy. Everybody's a busy guy, girl, and it's difficult to get that.
It is.
But like I said, with the commitment of the once you have the interest and once you want to do it, it'll get done.
You know?
I think I've already made a rod for my own back here now, because I've already said earlier that maybe I'll have a look at something in competition and stuff.
Yeah, we would be big fans of that.
Yeah, an adaptive division. At a tournament. Yeah. What would it take? Half an hour out of your day? No problem. All you need good, well-trained referees.
Aware referees.
Yeah,
and that's it. And get a few athletes together, put a rule set in there that keeps everyone safe but competitive.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all possible.
Okay. Because we've had it in the past. We've had it in like friendly matches, like in demonstration matches.
I've done a few of them as well.
Yeah, and we've had that, but it's never been sort of formalised into something that... Because I'd say if we did a straw poll of every academy, I have no doubt we'd draw.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You have people there.
Yeah. I'd say we have a division or two there, I would say.
Yeah, you could well do.
Okay. Right, okay. I'm going to file that one away I'm going to get Alex to edit that one out the big league, so I don't have to... But no, I'll file that one away, because I think that's something that could be... that's a worker, definitely. That's a worker.
I think so.
Okay. So, look, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming down.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah. I won't breach too many secrets, but you're the earliest Christmas shopper I know, so we're going to...
At the specialist audience.
Yeah. Well, look, it's been brilliant to talk about it. I mean, I can foresee a lot of questions coming up, so I'll pass them on to you and stuff like that.
100%.
And if we need to do another
follow-up. If we need a follow-up, we can do it. That's no problem at all.
Outstanding. Okay.
Harry, thank you very much.
Sean, thank you. All right. We're done. Nice.